Good morning, Grand Rising. It's Encounter Oracle on another field trip. Because I got things to do this evening after work. Oh. There's just a lot. I think I have a little clarification to why I keep getting this stay stuck in the past type of energy, because when you stay stuck in the past, like whether it's a past life, childhood, teenagers, and stuff like that, or better yet, your bloodline's past, that requires you to be unhealed and kind of like stay that way, stay stuck in your trauma. And like basically it's a way of binding yourself without realizing that you're binding yourself. Because that's something I figured out while I was having my coffee this morning and just letting puppy go puppy around in the backyard for a minute before work. And I mean, it's basically so the enemy can continue to do their sketchy things, not be held accountable, and ultimately to continue to energy harvest off of you. Because me having the ability to replenish myself energetically, I attract a lot of vampires. A lot of people who just don't want to do the work, but they want to drain the energy of other people in the name of manifesting this, that, and the third. So when you sit there and think about it, if somebody sacrificed you in a past life, they figured out very quickly that you're more valuable alive than you are dead. Because once your energy, once you flatline, your energy goes with you. Like, it's not here anymore. It can neither be created nor destroyed. It just, your energy goes bye-bye. That's something I figured out with a set of karmics I've been dealing with. One of them apparently for like 20, 25 years, unbeknownst to me. Him and his whole family. So it's just like, this makes too much damn sense. Too much damn sense. Or at least to me it does. But in order for them to continue to be able to harvest off of you, they have to have access to you in some capacity. But one thing I've noticed is the people that do this, they are deathly terrified of being found out. And I mean deathly terrified. There's a whole lot of smear campaigns, a whole lot of gaslighting, this, that, and the third. Like, these are control freaks that don't look like control freaks. Which brings me to this, because I got drawn to the 48 Laws of Power this weekend. Law number 5 is about reputation, so it's just like, that makes a lot of sense. Now, my thing is this, do I have Robert Greene's books? Yes, I do. Do I study them cover to cover, front to back, back to front, word for word, letter for letter, punctuation mark for punctuation mark? No, I go through them as I need to do so. Because anytime I flip through those books for shits and giggles, it always, immediately, plop. There's what I'm looking for. And it's like, And what's funny is the car in front of me wasn't paying attention to the green light, ready to go. So somebody here needs to start paying attention to what I'm saying. And if you're confused, ask for clarification. But there are folks out here who study psychology and do nothing with it. I know a lot of people who claim to be going to school for psychology, which oftentimes makes me wonder. Because if they're not in psychology, they're in criminal justice. Not law school, but criminal justice. Or something, again, in psychology. And I know a lot of witches in the mental health field, or they have a really strong interest in the mental health field, because studying psychology to control folks is a level of heinous you cannot pay me to get to, but at the same time, you can't really fight a weapon or an enemy that you have no knowledge on. So it's like, what are they doing? What are they using? They're using psychology. Mental manipulation. These people probably have really strong air sign placements and stuff like that. But there's one person in particular I remember studying psychology, or claiming to, or something like that, going on and on about how her student loans were forgiven and stuff like that. And it's just like, it makes me wonder, because the finance person in me is just like, son, like, math ain't math in here, because Sally Mae just don't up and forgive a loan just like that. And in private loans, you're like, good luck. The only way for those to be forgiven is if you pay them in full. So, which brings me to this: either somebody is like full of shit, because either somebody spotted you the money to pay those loans off, or you never went to school to begin with. That's the kicker. Like, that's my thing right now. Either somebody spotted you the money to pay those loans off, because there's no way in hell this person in question, like, they're like, just math ain't mathin'. And then there's the whole claims of autoimmune diseases, which I am pretty well versed on at this point, because when I was going through a health collapse a decade ago, I was tested for everything under the sun, and everything would come back as a negative. But what I did figure out through a lot of time, patience, and using my own vessel as a lab rat, I had some dietary intolerances that reared their mug in my mid-20s, which was depressing, because cheese, like cow's milk, was my number one source of protein, because I couldn't afford meat at the time. So that was a little bit of a trip, even for me, because to be intolerant and or allergic to the A1 casein in cow's milk, that will tremendously limit your dietary options if you're already struggling to provide food for yourself. And then when you throw a hypothyroid that's just inches away from going the Hashi route, you kind of have to be gluten-free as well. But one thing I've learned throughout time is, when you have a dietary intolerance, you're automatically in the sphere of autoimmune disease by default. And the only time my thyroid has ever gone bonkers and batshit is when I am exposed to a virus that it has trouble fighting off. True story. And I remember this witch one time saying she ordered a patty melt and stuff like that for herself, and it's just like, and my gears got to turning, because she claimed to have a certain type of thyroid condition. And I'm gonna tell you this right here now: the minute you are diagnosed is the minute you got to stay gluten-free for life. You pretty much end up having to follow a lifestyle called autoimmune paleo, AIP for short. And I myself am very well versed in that protocol, because whenever I get sick, I have to follow that protocol for a week straight. Because when I say I become so sensitive to various foods, when I contract a virus, and my body goes bonkers. Like, it starts fight mode immediately the second it detects. Like, that's how my body's like the way it is insanely strong because my defenses are strong. But when it reacts to something, buddy, it is violent, and it's just something I prefer to avoid. Like, I prefer to avoid it if I can. Like, if I have the option between a dairy-free food versus something that may possibly be cross-contaminated, like, if there's a possibility that something may be in there that shouldn't, I have a choice. And oftentimes I'm going to choose the choice that keeps me out of the hospital. So when you eat a food item that's loaded with dairy and gluten, and you have an autoimmune condition, I will tell you from personal experience, that will have me out of commission for at least 3 days. It will be 3 days before my body, like the arthritis type of deal in my body, it takes 3 days to get out from under that. It takes 5 days to get the inflammation out of my stomach and my intestines, and so on down that line. My head will hurt, my back will ache, anything for movement hurts, the whole 9 yards, which really oftentimes makes me wonder, because what it is at the end of the day is a total mind fuck, basically. And that's how these witches get you to stay around, is to mentally manipulate you. They will have you binded up so bad you won't even realize that you're being bound in the first place. But I will tell you this, you don't really have to be a witch to do that. You can just be a straight up narcissist or a sociopath. They are notorious for stuff like that. And if you were raised in that type of family dynamic like I was, you know the signs. But at the same time, you can't make everybody believe and understand. And sometimes there's just not enough things available, like visibly available, to make a decision accordingly. Like, you find out by find out that you've been fucked over in some capacity. You find out by those closest to you betraying you. Like, Judas is always going to be in your camp. People can fight me on this all day and night long. Judas will always be in your camp and never outside of it. And this type of stuff is just, it's abusive. It is so insanely abusive, and I cannot stand it. But the only way a narcissist is really gonna let go of you, in a manner of speaking, is if you are extremely burdensome to them in some capacity. But this is probably why I keep seeing a bunch of witches and stuff like that with their third eye and their crowns just blown out, because of all the mind games they have played over the years. And again, they study a lot of psychology. But it's really funny when somebody who is not air dominant tries to do this. Because I know a Pisces in Georgia. Like, she was extremely crafty. She played on the mind as she did the heart. She's a Pisces. What do you expect? And it's like, whew. But at the same time, she couldn't really get her hooks into me, because I was low-key already onto her ship prior to me ever finding out who she was. A Scorpio in Bulgaria had the biggest balls out of them all. I will admit that. She had some like that, like the level of cojones you have to try to pull one up on a person like me it's ballsy, so I'll give you that. But at the same time, it's like, bitch, I can still see what you're doing. My great aunt on my mother's side of the family, I could see what she was doing. anything I can stand, like if it's anything I can't stand, it's a control freak. And I hate the manipulative control freaks even more. Like, I can't stand y'all. Cannot stand y'all, because y'all are abusive as hell. And that's one of the reasons these people want you stuck in the past. They're always focusing on your past traumas, because they don't want to know what your trauma is to help you. They want to know what your trauma is so they can exploit you. Because I will tell you this right here and now, no certified professional is going to put their license on the line like some of these, like all these practitioners, these readers and stuff like that do that study psychology. Because I will tell you this here and now, in order to practice in a certain capacity, you have to have a license in your state. And you cannot practice, like if you're in New York, you can't practice in Georgia unless you are licensed for Georgia. You can't come to Alabama and do that unless you are licensed for Alabama, and so on down that line. And I will tell you this right here and now, 99.9999999% of these biatches are not certified. Because even if they do have the means to go to school, they're studying psychology, but they're not doing anything with it. The closest they'll ever get to using it is to control their target in the name of energy harvesting and or spiritually enslaving them, basically. And that's the type of thing that these witches don't want someone like me on the scene. Like, they get so mad when I step on. They get so mad. And it's just like, okay, you want a job done? Call a Taurus. You want to go sift through data and find a pattern? You come talk to a Scorpio like me. Because the minute I see a pattern, you're done. You're done. You're really done, honestly. Because, I mean, when you have, when someone is lying enough and they're lying in things that somebody is very knowledgeable in, not just through school, but life in general. I mean, what's funny is there's this Be Kind sticker and then there's coexist at the front. Yeah, I agree. We would all be able to do that if it weren't for these people playing on past traumas. We would be able to successfully do that. I mean, if it weren't for people playing on past traumas and stuff like that, we would actually be able to do that. But this is what happens when witches get into the craft for the wrong damn reasons. They don't like what was actually written for their life. And just, it's a big fat mess because they just don't like their life and where it's at, what they're meant for. So they want to try to change fate. Like, there's a fine line between being proactive about working towards a better life and then just straight up trying to destiny swap and all that jazz. And on top of that, the reason sometimes our lives are the way that they are is because we are truly paying for some, not just past life stuff, but some ancestral variety. Excuse me. Like, for example, my dad's side of the family, we are heavily descended from the Plantagenets. We are heavily descended from the motherfuckers. Basically, Margaret Tudor, the oldest daughter of King Henry VII and Elizabeth of York, yeah, that's one of my, she's one of my God knows how many great grandmothers. Her son James, we basically come from all three of his illegitimate children, making King James the First of England and Sixth of Scotland my, however, many great uncle. So, like, when I say my family is still, paying for shit that went back, my family is still paying for things that went down during the War of the Roses. We're still paying for it because we are descended from the Lancasters and the Yorks. So it really makes us wonder, like, how, and the fact that Margaret fucking Beaufort is in my bloodline is like, bleh. I can't stand her. Like, I truly cannot stand her. I can't. I really can't. But when you figure stuff out like that out, oof, it's just like, fuck. Then there was a mulatto slave, also on my dad's side of the family. That word makes me so damn mad. It's not even funny. And it turns out it's her trauma and her rage surrounding her identity that I pick up on. And it's just like, oh God. So it's like, how much ancestral trauma are we really paying for? Because from the looks of things, a lot of people just don't want to pay that karmic debt back. Because, I mean, then there's my native side and the things they've done. So, I mean, it's just like, again, what are we paying for that we don't really know about? Because, I mean, everybody has their cross to bear in life. But, again, this whole stuck in the past type of energy, it's not really it is a spell, technically, because they're trying to bind you. But it's not necessarily magic per se. It's just a shit ton of psychology playing on past trauma. Past lives, this life, and ancestral. I mean, they're doing readings to find out what it all is and so on down that line and go after folks accordingly. But at the same time, they're about to pay with their own respective descendants. And so on down that line. Trust me, they will not get away with this because they're going to have to pay for it in some form or fashion. But at the same time, it's a matter of cutting through all the smoke and all the mirrors and seeing the bigger picture and all that jazz, because, like, they want us at each other's throats. Basically, they want us at each other's throats in the name of being like just everywhere, like just in the name of being confused and all over the place. And it's just one of those things. It's like, I just don't have time for it, because I see, but not everyone else does. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this level of mind games it's frightening, but at the same time, it's, damn, that takes some balls to try to do. But my thing is, it's being played by people who don't like their life and where they are in their life. And with that, I gotta run, so everyone have a good day.